Welcome back to the Daily Mirror. Now, of course, today is Christmas, which means tomorrow, the 26th of December, is Boxing Day. And that can mean only one thing for fans of cricket, especially in Australia, if the stage is set for the yearly Boxing Day Test match. And this time, the Boxing Day Test match could not get any bigger than India versus Australia. It's Test 4 of the ongoing Border Gavaskar Trophy. And this time, India is returning to the iconic Melbourne cricket ground to take on Australia from the fourth day for the fourth Test, which starts tomorrow. The series is evenly paused 1-1 after 3 matches. Now, why India has reason to cheer is because the fact that their record at the MCG is actually, while that is in favor of the host with 4 wins and 2 draws and 8 losses in 14 matches, recent history is painting a much more brighter picture for India because they have been unbeaten in the last 3 visits to the MCG. And the memorable moments include the win in the last Boxing Day Test match, which happened in Australia with India. That's in 2021. Courtesy, of course, a heroic then captain Ajinkya Rahane's knock of 112 runs. But this time, all eyes will be on India's game changers. There's, of course, Jassi Bhai. We all trust only in Jassi Bhai, one can say at this point. But there's also some hope that the woes will be rokified for Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. They, of course, are key people to watch out for. Virat Kohli has an average of 52.66 with 316 runs at this point, which is a key player to watch the MCG. Rohit Sharma, of course, is, the biggest impact player and can never be counted out. So there's so much to talk about at this point. We've got a list of the probable 11 on our screens right now, which has been put together by our team at this desk here, who understands cricket very well. Let me now go across to former cricketer and my esteemed guest who are joining me in the studio at this point, Rajinder, Amarnath. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to Mirror. Now, let's start with some positive news here. When the series agenda was finalized, a lot of people felt that it had been tailored in such a way that the matches where Australia would fancy the chances, the venues where Australia would fancy the chances, the day-night match at Adelaide, Brisbane and Perth would give them the psychological advantage before going to Melbourne and Sydney, which have in the recent past being happy hunting grounds for India. Given that in mind, now that we enter the so-called happy phase for India, do you think it's advantage India that we've kept the series to 1-1, especially given how the previous test match looked to be a sure-shot win for Australia before we snatched a draw out of the jaws of defeat?
Well, if you go back into the history of India and Australia series, I would go as back as 1977 when that India won at Melbourne for the first time under the captaincy of Bishan Singh Bedi. So since then, the trend changed and India had a good outing at Melbourne. But let's not forget this series. Let's come to this series because at the moment, both the teams are playing good cricket. There's no doubt about it. But the problem which India is facing at the moment is the big guns are not firing. That is a cause of real concern for the Indian camp. But at the same time, you don't have many replacement for if you're going to be talking about Virat Kohli or the captain. You don't have any kind of a replacement. But at the same time, I would always put it, what good is a fountain pen without an ink? What good is a batsman without one? So they have to come good in the Melbourne Test match. Otherwise, we'll be in a bad soup, I should.
So let's talk about these big guns who have not been fired. One of them, of course, is Rohit Sharma. Now, there has been a lot of speculation as to where he should be batting. He's, of course, been an opener for India in all formats for last many years. But since right now the opening combination of KL Rahul, who at least he's the only batsman who seems to have consistently worked so far, and Yashasvi Jaiswal is the tested combination they're going for. But Rohit Sharma coming in at number 6 has not worked for him or for the Indian cricket team. Do you think that it's perhaps for Rohit's own confidence he should go back to opening it? And if he does, should it necessarily be at the cost of KL Rahul, who's actually been doing fairly well as a makeshift opener?
Well, it's a call that Gautam Gambhir will have to take. They'll have to first go and see the condition of the pitch. And one thing I'm telling you, I'm telling
but
the
if
viewers
you were
also,
if you were in the place of Gautam Gambhir, Mr. Amarnath, what call would you take?
That's what I'm coming to. The first call I will take is the weather. You have to take into consideration. Melbourne gets 4 seasons in a day. You have to see those 4 seasons. And you have to look at the weather forecast also and the condition of the pitch. And then you're going to take a call whether you're going to promote the captain up in the order and then bring down KL Rahul down. Because at the moment, it seems the way Rohit is batting, he may struggle with the new ball also. So I personally feel the
that's true.
opening pair should not be disturbed. And if at all, Rohit is comfortable with the new ball, he can come at number 3, and then the batting order can be shuffled accordingly.
Okay, so you are suggesting a third option, that is perhaps look at Rohit Sharma at number 3 and then Virat at 4, or maybe Virat going down the order as well. Let's talk of bowlers at this point. The big headline which has been in the week-long gap between this and the previous test match was, of course, the sudden retirement of Ashwin. Now, of course, there have been comments which have come in from his father saying that he literally retired hurt. Ashwin has tried to play it down, but obviously nobody retires bang in the middle of the tour without there being some cause at this point, especially at a time when we are reaching that stage of the leg where spinners are expected to play a much greater role in Melbourne, especially in Sydney. Do you think perhaps there is a chance that India may regret the fact that Ashwin retired perhaps 2 matches a bit too early? And more importantly, before I answer that, will this sudden retirement destabilize some of the mood in the camp? What is your assessment?
See, as far as Ashwin is concerned, he's history now. We don't have to think about him. But I can always say, wherever there is smoke, there has to be fire somewhere. So I'm not too sure what has been happening at the Indian camp. It's very difficult to comment on that. But yes, now you're talking about 2 venues which definitely assist the spinners as the match progresses, especially Melbourne and Sydney. And I only wish that the bowler had stayed back. Ashwin could have held back his retirement for 2 more matches, should have played the game and then retired instead of not playing the game and retiring. Maybe, I'm not too sure what has been happening in Australia, but as a cricketer, I would have felt a good farewell would have concluded his illustrious career.
Okay. All right, Mr. Amarnath, I think I just have 1 minute left on this chat, and so I'm going to put you in a spot of bother with some crystal gazing. We've already talked about what would be the batting order, but as an expert, weather notwithstanding, what would be your playing 11 for this match in Melbourne in the batting order?
Yeah, as I told you, there is not much of replacement for Virat or for Rohit. So they will continue, and the team, if at all, you may like to bring in another spinner. So you may have 2 spinners, one left arm and a right arm, and the same batting order plus the 3 pace bowlers to continue in the team.
All right, so you are saying that you say that we should sacrifice a bit of batting depth to get a 5 bowler pace attack, a 5 bowler attack with 2 spinners and 3 pacers. In that case, who will be the batsman who will be at the receiving end? There's a lot of questions to be answered, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Mr. Amarnath, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to be joining you in 5 days with hopefully some good news to discuss, with hopefully season. Remember, if India do win this match, they are assured of retaining the Gavaskar Trophy. Thank you so much, Mr. Amarnath, for joining us on the Daily Mirror for this very short but delightful conversation. It's time for a short break. On the other side is the Urban Debate with Shreya Upadhyay. Stay tuned.